Hi guys, welcome to another book vlog, reading vlog, whatever you want to call it. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. I am literally just starting off where I've left off. So if you haven't watched my last reading vlog, please go back and check it out because I have literally pressed stop and then start again. So we're hitting the ground running with another reading vlog. In our last one, we read these books along with two others. So if you're new here, my name's Sophie. I run the small business Sophie in Somerset, which is Etsy small business where I'm a traditional artist and I turn my art into stationery products such as prints, bookmarks, stickers, things like that. But I also have a love for reading. All the bookmarks that you see in these book vlogs are created by myself and are available on my Etsy store. Little plug there. But in the last vlog, we read all of these books. My challenge was to read the complete series of Narnia, so all 7 Narnia books, plus a Christian devotional called Not a Tame Lion. I did that all over Lent in the run-up, and I finished on Easter Sunday. We also read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, and we read 2 other books because I am also a part of a book group here in my hometown. I am the youngest member of that book club by about 2 decades, but it's great because I end up reading books that I never would have read before. So in the last vlog, I also read The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Almost said Tom Twain then. And also A Confederacy of Dunces. So if you want to find out what that's all about, go back and check the last vlog. Like I said, we're jumping straight into a new one. And my latest book club read that I need to read. So basically we meet once a month. So we're given a month to read the book. I try and get it done out of the way before I read my long list of TBR books. So this one that we've got this month is Call of the Penguins by Hazel Pryor. Now, this is actually a sequel. The first book in the series was called Away with the Penguins. However, other book club groups that are attached to my library have read this one, and apparently you don't need to have read the first book. I'm hoping that's the case because otherwise I won't have a clue what's going on, and nobody else in my book club even realised there was a first book. So none of us have read the first one, so that'll be interesting. It's meant to be quite a light-hearted one. I think it's basically this granny and this little girl go off together because they both have a love of penguins, and they go to the southern hemisphere and about their adventure there. I think that's what I've got so far. So this will be the first one we're jumping into. Again, I like to get this done as soon as I get my book club read. Then next up, we will be reading together Ruthless, Vows by Rebecca Ross, so the sequel to Divine Rivals, which we read last time, mainly because this is a duology and I really want to kind of find out what happens. It's funny, when I read that one, I was unsure. I did love the world, but it wasn't, I said, oh, it was not 5 stars for me. I'm not really thinking about the characters. Ever since, I've wanted to know what happens. So it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. So I'm excited to read this one, although there have been some mixed reviews. So we shall see. So yeah, I just really want to complete that duology. Then after that, we are going to be reading Powerless by Lauren Roberts, mainly because I've already pre-ordered the novella, which is the sequel to this, which is Powerful. The full sequel, Ruthless, comes out July, I believe. But I think that the novella kind of goes along with it as well. But I took a bit of a pump because I've pre-ordered the novella without reading this one first, purely going on kind of booktubers, book girlies predominantly, and I think I'm going to love it. So we need to read this one. I think the novella is due to arrive in the next couple of days, maybe next week. So it will arrive before I've had a chance to read it, but at least we can jump into it pretty quick. So that's my plan. There will be obviously lots of other books. I've got quite a lot of books on my shelf. I'm thinking we might dive into a couple of Ali Hazelwood's that I'm really wanting to read. I haven't read Bride yet. I'm really I guess, what's the word? Curious. I've seen some, if you've seen all the book reviews and stuff, what people are saying, you probably know what I'm thinking. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to make of it, but we'll give it a go. And also Love on the Brain from Ali Hazelwood I've got on my shelf. But we are going to go book shopping. As you can see, I've got a massive gap behind me. I'm in the process of sorting out my bookshelves. So that's literally what we're going to do next. We're going to sort out our bookshelves. I took a clip before I took out these books. So I'll put that in, and then we'll also follow us upstairs, because I've got another bookshelf upstairs in my art studio, which is predominantly non-fiction. We've got all of our Bibles and stuff over there. This was really Christian fiction and non-fiction. So I'm going to try and move that upstairs. I'm going to de-haul some books so that I can fill this shelf with some more fiction. Because obviously I'm just falling in love with reading again. This is what I've been documented here on YouTube. Again, if you're new here, I'm just documenting my journey to coming back into loving reading again. And that's shown through my art. I've got a book merch drop coming out in the summer, actually, a shop update, where there'll be some Divine Rivals, some Magnolia Parks, and maybe even some Powerless memorabilia coming out if I get sucked into this world, which I have a sneaking suspicion I will. I will be doing a range just on Narnia, but I'm going to save that for Christmas, I think. So that's enough of me yabbering on. Let's do the bookshelves first, I think. Let's get those sorted. And then we will start with Call of the Penguins. So we'll get this done for the book club. This is, how many pages is this one? There's always so much gumph at the back of these books, isn't there? That's 383 pages, so not a massive one. The typeface isn't too bad, pretty standard. So let's jump in and do this one, and then I think we will go to book shopping, because in the last video and since then, since I've been doing my sorting out, I have done a couple of Ziffit de-hauls. If you don't know about Ziffit, it is an app that I use that I scan my books. You just literally scan the book barcodes at the back and you can sell your books, and then so it's a company called Ziffit that you sell it with on the app, but it actually goes to the online shop World of Books, which you probably heard of, where you can buy secondhand books from. So I sell my unwanted books there. Sometimes you only get like 20, 50p, but sometimes you get a couple of quid for them. And I put all of that money back into buying more books, because I am a young mum. I don't have that much spare cash. So this is the way I can fuel my passion for reading. So we have £22 to spend. So my plan is to go to a couple of bookshops, physical bookshops, and then if I don't spend all the money, then we can do a little bit of an Amazon order as well. So lots of exciting stuff coming up in this video. I hope you enjoy. Like I said, I've been rambling for long enough. Let's jump into sorting out the bookshelves, and let's start Call of the Penguins. Okay, so we are about a quarter of the way through now. We are on chapter 18, page 110. So we got Veronica's point of view. She is the main protagonist. She's a lady in her late 80s, and it's about her going out on a new adventure, because the first book, Away with the Penguins, which is the first one, this is a sequel. So the first book was her on her previous adventure. Now she's going off on an adventure again. What I will say is we are a quarter of the way through and she's only just arrived on this new adventure. So it's a bit slow going. I am enjoying it. It's told from 3 points of view. So we've got Veronica, her grandson Patrick, and his partner Terry. So 3 points of view, so not too many to drift in between. And it's interesting. I think if you had read the first book, you might find it a bit more interesting, because Terry is actually on Locket Island, which is where the first book was set. However, not having read the first book, it does give you quite a good overview of what happened. It doesn't go into detail. So we know that Veronica saved a baby chick penguin, and then the penguin ended up saving her. We're not told how that transpires, but we're told that's basically the premise of the first book. So the second book basically picks up, I think it says like it's about a year later. So if you read the first book, it would make sense, but you don't need to have read the first book, which is good because I haven't. But like I said, I am enjoying it. It's an easy read, very, very easy read. So completely different to my last book club read. If you watched the previous book vlog, you know that it was a bit of a long slog, that one. But I am enjoying it, but it is slow. But I have, you can see I've dog-eared a few pages, because of course I can't underline this book because it is a library book. But a couple of quotes that I thought were quite nice. I think I showed on camera the little map at the front, which is quite good because it shows her travels and the different places that's mentioned. There was a little part about penguins. Penguins, as well as being quite charming, have for me come to represent bravery, determination, and resilience. With their daily challenges of long treks across snowy wasteland, swimming in icy waters, and trying to avoid becoming meals for seals, they are paragons of good cheer in the face of hardship. So I thought that was quite a nice passage. And then there was one little line here as well that I've also dog-eared. You try to choose the moment, but usually the moment ends up choosing you. So those are my favourite little bits so far. But yeah, overall enjoying it, but just a bit slow going. So obviously we'll continue on with this one. I wanted to check in with you though, because I've got 2 new books from... If you watched my last reading vlog, you will have known that my husband has like a shelf at his work place. Well, it's several shelves now, so it is a bookcase really, and it's where people can donate their unwanted books, and then you can also pick up new books. By the way, if you hear banging, it is my son upstairs rocking his cot. My husband is upstairs with him, but just in case you hear some background sound, he's going to bed. Anyway, so we donated quite a few books there. So the books I can't sell on Ziffit, which go to World of Books, I donate the books to there. And we picked up 2 new ones. So the first one is another Sally Rooney one. So I got Normal People last time. So it must be the same person donating this one. This is Sally Rooney's Beautiful World, Where Are You? Now, when I saw it, my first thought was, I want to get that, even though I haven't still read the other Sally Rooney book, and I haven't actually read any of her books. But I thought, actually, do you know what? I really want to give it a go. It's free. If I don't like it, I can donate it back. But then I made the mistake of looking on Goodreads, and I saw that Destiny, one of the book girlies, who you probably watch on YouTube, gave it was it 2 stars or maybe even a 1 star? It was a really awful review she gave it. And I was like, oh no, I don't want it then. but then I kept thinking about it, and actually my husband came home without it, and I said, actually, can you go back and see if it is there? So the next day he went and got it for me, because I don't want to be swayed so much by other people's opinion, because it's so subjective, isn't it, our tastes? So just because Destiny did enjoy it doesn't mean that I might not enjoy it. So I'm going to give it a go on the TBR shelf. So Sally Rooney, Beautiful World, Where Are You? And the other one I got was a Liane Moriarty book. Again, I haven't read any of her books, but I've seen quite a few, not necessarily this book being mentioned, but some of her other books being mentioned on BookTube and stuff. So this is Liane Moriarty, 9 Perfect Strangers. And I read not the blurb on here, because on the blurb on here it just says, one luxury retreat in the middle of nowhere, 10 days in which no one can leave, 9 strangers seeking perfection and each discovering the perfect lie. But I read a bit more blurb, we get on Goodreads, like the summary. I read that and I just thought, I'm just so intrigued by the book. I'm not really normally into this type of book, this kind of thriller-esque book. But I was intrigued enough to give it a go. Again, these are free books, so if I don't like them, I can just donate them back. So these are my 2 new books, but I will be getting some new books soon, because as you see, I've got a blank space where I've been moving my bookshelves around. You will have seen in the previous clips, I've done my upstairs bookshelf, so I've moved all of my Christian non-fiction upstairs, had a good sort out, and I had a good D-haul up there as well. Sent a load off to Ziffit. So with the money from that D-haul, along with the D-haul I did in my previous vlog, I have £22 to spend on books. So my first protocol is I want to go to The Works, a shop that probably in the UK people know about, lots of like discounted books, art supplies, things. So I'm going to go there first and have a look to see what I can find there. And then, because I know that they do have a good selection, a good load of authors that I am interested in, but they have really new releases. And I think I've pre-ordered a lot of the new releases. So I want to, the books that I'm probably looking for are probably previous releases. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm going to go there, see what's there. And then if I don't find what I want there, I am going to do an Amazon order, because my Amazon list, I've got a little wish list of a TBR list, and it's so full. And yeah, so I'm probably just going to get a couple of books from Amazon if I can't find what I want at The Works. But anyway, I'm going to take you with me. So I will take you to The Works, and then I will film the unboxing of my Amazon order when it comes, and we can fill this lovely shelf with some TBR books. And I will then check in with you again once this shelf is full, and probably once I finish this one. We are going to visit my in-laws next weekend, so I think I'll probably end up finishing this one then. It is currently, what day is it? It is the 9th of April. We're in April, scary enough. So it's the 9th of April, and my book club meet next Wednesday. So I've got a week to finish this before I meet up with my book club again, which I'll easily do. And then obviously the next one is Ruthless, Vows after this one. But let's read this one and do our book haul. So guys, it is Monday the 15th of April and I have finished Call of the Penguins. I finished it yesterday in the car back on the way back from the in-laws, and I have to say that I really enjoyed it. Last time I spoke to you, I wasn't really feeling it that much. I said it was a really slow start, but the second half of the book really picks up. So like I said before, it's told from 3 points of view. So not that many, because I think sometimes when you have a book that's told from multiple points of view, it can become a bit confusing. Also, in a lot of books, when it's told from multiple points of view, it's multiple different storylines. And although in this book there is a few different strands to this one tale, it is a lot more closely woven than other stories. It's really hard to talk about it without giving spoilers, which I don't want to do. But trigger warnings, there is a talk of grief in here, and also pregnancy. Now, speaking as someone who in the past has, well, still suffers from infertility, and kind of has those kind of feelings when you see pregnancy announcements online, just be wary. So if you're sensitive to that kind of announcements, just beware that it's coming up in this book. So yeah, it kind of took me by surprise. But apart from that, I really enjoyed it. There was some twists and turns. I thought I was predicting what was going to happen, but there were some curveballs in there that I didn't predict, which is always fun. Again, multiple different strands. So you have Veronica, who's in her late 80s, going to film this penguin program. Then you have a grandson who's trying to find what happened to his father, her son, who was given up for adoption when he was a baby, and also abandoned her grandson, Patrick, when he was little. So to find out what happened to him. And then you have Terry, who is Patrick's ex-partner, and her story on Locket Island, which is where the first book was set. Interestingly, since I finished this one and actually enjoyed it, I looked it up on Amazon. I don't think I'm going to read the first book, just simply because I feel that I've got enough backstory from this one. I don't feel like I need to go back and read it. However, there is a third book coming out this September, which I don't know, because there's so many books that I want to buy and money is scarce. I don't know whether I would spend my money on it yet. There's other books I want to buy first. However, if it comes into my library, I definitely think I will get it out and check it out, because I did really love the characters. Veronica is such a feisty old lady. You can tell that she's really lived a life. And then you have little Daisy as well. Daisy, who suffered from cancer, and she's kind of in remission, and she goes with Veronica on this tale. There's lots of talks about penguins, so lots of interesting penguin facts. Good talk about how to, protect our environment and reduce plastic waste. So there's good morals to it. But there are, if you've seen, there's a couple of dog-eared pages here at the end. There were some beautiful lines, but because it's a library book, I couldn't underline it. So I am, and obviously I've got to take it back, so I can't keep it. So once I finish this clip, I am going to go straight to my bullet journal and do a reading wrap-up page for this book and record my favourite lines from the book. So rather than me trying to find them and read them out to you, I'm going to record the page once I've done it in my bullet journal, just so you can see some quotes. There was some lovely writing. The author, Hazel Pryor, she lives in the southwest of England, as do I. She's a bit further down in Devon. And I've looked up, and she has a couple of other books that are set around that area. All feature different animals. So there's another story about otters as well. So she's obviously an animal lover. So yeah, I would highly recommend it, actually. I've given it 4 stars. I've landed on 4 stars. It's not quite a 5-star, but the second half, so keep persevering with it if you're going to read it, because it really does pick up. Like I said, you have some interesting it's interesting tale with Patrick going to find his dad and what happens to him, and that's a bit of a mystery solved there. By the way, I do apologize for the light keep going in and out. It's a really sunny day, but it keeps going behind clouds. Anyway, I would highly recommend it. So moving on, next we have Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the second book in the duology. I read Divine Rivals in my previous reading vlog. So if you want to see what I thought of the first book, please go back and have a look at that. I think I landed on a 4 stars for this one, because I didn't think it was 5 stars, because I didn't feel like I was thinking enough of the characters after I finished the book. However, my mind has kept coming back to these characters. I wanted to know what happens because it did end on a bit of a cliffhanger. So I'm really excited to see how it's resolved. Obviously, it's a duology, so I'm guessing that it has a nice ending, or at least a tied up ending. So this is what we're going to read next. I am still waiting for the Powerful novella to come in. As you can see, I've arranged my other books. I've put most of my to be read books, or my recent purchase anyway, together on my shelf. So I'm very happy with how that looks. Plenty of room for new books. So we will read this one. When Powerful arrives, I will show the unboxing of that. And also, because this is a book club read, I'm meeting up with my book club members on Wednesday. So we will get at least the next name of the next book, if not the book itself, if it's already come in from the library. But when I either have it or I know what it is, I will share that with you. I'm excited to see what our next book club read is. They did ask for some suggestions, so I did give them a couple of suggestions. However, we might go with somebody else's. I'm not sure. So as soon as I know that one, I will let you know. But let's go on with Ruthless Vows. So I just thought I would give you a little bit of an update. So Ruthless Vows, I am on page 302, chapter 41. I have to say I'm loving it. So I haven't got much left to read. And a lot of people say they prefer the first book, but I actually prefer this one. There's a lot more about the gods and like kind of the myths around this world, and I'm really enjoying that. I guess less so about the relationship, although you still have it in there, but most of the time they're trying to find their way back to each other. So I guess the people who enjoyed the build up of the kind of enemies to lovers aspect of the first book is maybe missing in this book. But I like the drama. I like the high stakes. I'm really intrigued to see how it finishes. I hope it's going to be a nice ending. So at the moment, obviously I've got a little bit more left to go, but at the moment it's kind of like a 4.5 for me stars. Really enjoy it. Still not quite that 5-star magic, but really enjoying this one. But I wanted to give you an update because you would have seen that I picked up the next book club read. It's a big boy. So it's The Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles. I've never read anything from this reader before. It's quite a rare author, not reader. Not read anything by this author before. Quite a well-known author. But this is, how many pages is it? 571 pages. So this is going to take quite a while to get through. So let me just read the back for you. 1954, 18-year-old Emmett returns home after serving a short sentence for involuntary manslaughter. Along with his younger brother Billy, he decides to embark on a road trip to find his long-lost mother. But as Emmett and Billy depart, they're joined by two runaways from Youth Work Farm, Duchess and Wooly, who have followed Emmett all the way to Nebraska with a plan of their own, one that will take the four of them on an unexpected and fateful journey in the opposite direction to New York City. So, intriguing. And also a member of my book club lent me her book called The Salt Path. She had just read it and she thought I might enjoy it. So this book, it's a true story written by Raynor, Winn, and it's about her journey. So let me just read the back of this one. Just days after Raynor Winn learned that Moth, her husband of 32 years, was terminally ill, they lost their home and livelihood. With nothing left and little time, they impulsively decide to walk the 630-mile southwest coast path from Somerset to Dorset via Devon and Cornwall. Living wild and free at the mercy of sea and sky, they discovered a new, liberating existence. But what would they find at the journey's end? So this is the first one in a 3-book series. Like I said, a true story about the author and her husband. And I love in the I've got my bookmark in it ready. I haven't started reading it yet, but it's got a little map of their coastal path journey. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's really intriguing because, of course, I live in Somerset and I have visited some, if not all, of these places. I know it very, very well. It's very close to home. So I'm intrigued to read about their journey around the coastal path of the southwest of England. But it's put a spanner in the works with my kind of TBR list. So Powerful, it's Powerful, the novella, is arriving today, finally. So I have a bit of a plan. I go on holiday next week. Now, holiday with a baby, if any of you got kids, you know, it's not like kind of like a beach read kind of holiday anymore. So I'm either going to have hardly any time to read because we'll be so busy, or we're staying in a static caravan. So it may be that we can't have the TV on very loud in the evenings or not at all, depending on what the sound quality is like. So I might get loads of reading done. It's going to be all or nothing, I presume. So I'm going to finish this one in the next couple of days. The plan is to start this one next, the South Path, just because, and take this on holiday with me, because I like the idea of reading about the coast and the southwest coast, because we're going to the Isle of Wight, so off the southwest coast, but it's kind of still a seaside-y holiday. So I thought this would be good vibes for that. And obviously because it's lent to me by a member of my book club, so when the book's lent to me, I kind of want to get on and read it so I can give it back. I do need to get onto this one because it's going to take me quite a while to read. But, so the plan is I'm going to take this one on holiday with me. I'm going to probably start reading it before we go and then take it on holiday with me. And then if I have lots of time to read, I'm also going to take Powerless and Powerful with me. So if I have lots of time, I'm going to dive into them. If I don't have much time, I'm going to finish this one off. And as soon as I come back, I'll jump into this one. So that's the plan. If I have lots of reading time, I really want to read Powerless. It's been on my TBR for so long. Now I'm getting Powerful, the novella. It's going to be sat on my shelf, both of them side by side. I need to read them. But equally, this is going to take me quite a while. So if I can, I'm going to squeeze those 2 books in before I start the book club read. If not, I'm going to have to go straight from this one to this one, and Powerless is going to have to come afterwards. So the next time I check in with you probably be when I come back off holiday. So we would have finished this one and I will be able to give you a kind of rating of this one. We would have finished this one. I'll be able to let you know what I think of this one. And we may have started this, or we may have read the Powerless books and about to start this one. Let's see what happens. Let's see how much reading time I get on holiday. I will share some clips of the holiday, hopefully, with you. And I will chat to you when I'm back. Hi guys, so I got back off holiday yesterday. It was such a great week on the Isle of Wight. I think I filmed a couple of clips, but to be honest, the weather was so beautiful. We were outside most of the time. I had packed my slanket, which is a blanket with sleeves. If you're not familiar with it, I've got a fleecy one and it's literally the love of my life. I love it. I was all prepared for some cozy evenings and afternoons in the caravan with the rain trickling down the windows, all atmospheric. But no, the weather had other ideas and it was bright sunshine. Not that I'm complaining because it made a beautiful holiday, but it meant I didn't get much reading done. So I brought this pile of books with me, and I didn't get through much at all. But we'll go on to that in a second because I need to start off by finishing off Ruthless, Vows. Because I think last time I spoke to you, I hadn't quite finished it. Well, this one finished before I went away. And it landed on a 4.5, probably edging on 4.75. I loved this book. I preferred it to the first book. I know some people don't because of like the lore and stuff, but I love all the lore. I love the background about the gods. And I preferred their relationship in this one. So the first one was enemies to lovers, but in my opinion, it moved from enemies to lovers a bit quick for me. I am more of a slow burn when it comes to that. So I didn't necessarily enjoy the relationship dynamics in the first one, although I think I love them as a couple. Whereas this one, it was about them trying to get back to each other. They were separated, and kind of almost like falling in love all over again. And I preferred that. So I loved this one. So I really, really enjoyed that one. So glad I read that one. And then I moved on to The Salt Path by Raynor Winn. So this was given to me by a member of my book club. So this is a true story, and it features the author and her husband going on a coastal walk around the southwest of England. I live in Somerset and they start off in Somerset. And then they go through Devon and Dorset, and I knew pretty much all of the places. I've been to pretty much all of the places. So I really enjoyed reading about that. And it's something, this is a book I'm actually going to buy for my mum, I think, because they go on holiday on quite a few of those places. So I think she'll really enjoy it as well. This is the first book in three book set, I think. I don't know if you call it a trilogy when it's like non-fiction. I'm not quite sure, but so it follows their journey. I did enjoy it. Would I read it again? Probably not. I am intrigued to know, follow what happened to them in the other books. So if I came across the other books or if I was lent them again, I would read them. But would I go out and buy the other two books? Probably not. But if you are interested in the coastal walk path or just people's stories in general, she's walking with her husband who has had a diagnosis and is struggling to deal with that. They just lost her home. So it's kind of like discovering the meaning of life almost whilst they walk. So it's quite deep, but I actually enjoyed that side of it. So so I would probably, I know you don't generally rate non-fiction books, but probably I would give it about 3 stars. I did enjoy it, but I probably wouldn't read it again, but I am going to recommend it to my mum. And then I moved on. So I was going to go on to Powerless, and I so very nearly did. However, we know, so this is my book club read for this month. It's The Lincoln Highway by Amor, Towles. So this is also the author of A Gentleman in Moscow, which is quite a famous book. I haven't read it, but my book club did read it previously before I joined. And it's quite a well-known book. But look how thick this is, and my book club is in a couple of weeks, and I need to get through it. So I knew that if I started Powerless, I would be rushing this. If I started Powerless, I would be rushing this to then get to this. And I don't want to do that. So as hard as it was, I did start this one. So it's 571 pages in total, and it's not that big writing, so it is quite a chunky one. And at the moment, I am on page 130, so not that far the way through. I am enjoying it. So far we've had 4 different points of view. mainly it's between Emmett and Duchess, but there was a couple of other characters who also had their points of view in there as well. I love the character Emmett. I love the character, his little brother, Billy. And if you watch or have watched The Big Bang Theory, but more importantly, Young Sheldon, Sheldon Cooper is basically like, well, the young Sheldon Cooper is like Billy, which is hilarious. And Emmett is his older brother, and it's a story about them wanting to go. Well, Billy predominantly wanted to find their mum, but then Emmett's two friends kind of hijacked their little road trip, and now they've kind of gone off course at this point. But it's following the Lincoln Highway, which I didn't realise is a road that stretches across America. I think it was the first road that went straight, like, coast to coast in America. Yes, the first road to stretch across America. It has a map at the beginning there. So that's the Lincoln Highway. So yeah, I am kind of enjoying it, but I'm just itching to get to Powerless. So we need to read this one. So it's now Tuesday, the 14th of May. I keep forgetting to give date reminders, and I do enjoy knowing how long it takes people to read books, so I apologise that I haven't been given date reminders, but it's now Tuesday the 14th of May. So I have my book club. I think it's not next week, the following week, so I have got a little time to read it. However, we are back home now, and little man has gone down to just one nap a day, so I don't have much time to read. But I'm going to get through this one, and then we will finally, I feel like in every single vlog I'm saying about Powerless, but we will finally get on to reading Powerless and then Powerful, the novella. And I'm so excited. So these will be, I promise you, these will be next after we finish the Lincoln Highway. So let's go, let's try and get through this as quickly as we can. And I'm intrigued to know what happens, how the characters develop. I do like the writing style, I have to say. I didn't think I would. Again, this isn't a book I would normally pick up, but I am enjoying it. I'm just trying to find a date that it was first published, because I don't think it's that old. 2021, so it's not really very old, because I know a lady in my book club was saying they read A Gentleman in Moscow during lockdown in 2020, and a lot of that book is set like this man is just confined to a hotel room, I believe. So there was a lot of parallels between lockdown and stuff. So I do want to read that book at some point. It feels like a book that you should read. But yeah, I am enjoying the writing style. So enough waffle. Let's get on with this one, and then we can finally get on to the Powerless books.
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again.
Okay, so let's debrief on both of these books. I have now finished Amor, Towles, The Lincoln Highway, and I have just started Powerless. You would have seen I am on what chapter am I on? I'm on chapter 6. We'll talk about this in a minute, but this one, so I had my book club last night, and we discussed this book. I must probably say that I am in the minority. There was, how many of us was there? There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us, and 4 of us loved it, and then 2 of us, me and another one, were kind of like it's okay. It is a long book. I would say I haven't read any other books by this author, but the rest of the book club have previously read the other book, like I've said before, A Gentleman in Moscow. And they highly recommend that one. They think that that one is slightly better than this one. So I would say check that one out, although they did say that one has a lot of political stuff in it, obviously because it's set in Moscow, whereas this one is just more about the actual journey, the physical journey, whereas the other one is more of like a mental journey. However, this author writes characters really, really well. I really loved how he described the characters. You really got lost in the story. So I really, really enjoyed that. However, I just felt it switched point of views very frequently with a lot of different characters. Now, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but I think some of the characters didn't need their own point of view. And also what you got with each point of view change, when it was a different character, you got their whole backstory as well. So I think this book could have been half the size. I felt like you'd get a really good pace of the action, and then it would slow down to have the backstory, and then you'd pick back up again, and then you'd slow down, and it just disrupted the whole narrative for me. But again, I was in the minority. Only two of us felt that way. The others didn't really mind it. So I would say it's worth a punt, but it is a thick one. And at the start, you think that the story is about Emmett and his brother Billy, but it's actually Duchess's story. So the book counts down from 10, and obviously it ends at 1. So you're counted down to this pivotal point. And all the way along, you think it's Emmett's story, but it's actually Duchess's. So that's quite cool. That's not spoiling anything for anyone, but it's something I wish I would have known at the start. The ending I'm not going to discuss because I didn't see it coming. However, it's a fitting ending, and I think it was a nice ending. I don't think you could have done it any better. So I would recommend this book, but just be prepared. It is a long one. And there are a lot of point of views and some backstories, but I would definitely pick up another book by this author. I'm not in a rush to go out and buy it, but I would, if I saw this author or if it came up again in a book club, I wouldn't be disappointed. Really good writer. Now let's go on to Powerless. Oh, before I say that, so I had my book club last night, and we were meant to be reading my choice next, which is Fourth Wing, which I've been dying to read, which I still don't own, and I feel like I'm the only person on the planet who hasn't read it. But there's been a mix-up in our new library. They've got new library systems coming in, and they couldn't get it. So instead, we will be reading Tiger in the Smoke, I believe it's called. It's a murder mystery / thriller. And we have over a month to read our books, but we're actually only meeting in 3 weeks. Well, it was 3 weeks yesterday, exactly 3 weeks from when we last met, that we're actually meeting again, which sounds like a long time. But as I've said before, my reading time is getting less and less. So before, little man used to have 2 naps a day. He used to take quite a long time to go down for both those naps. So I would have a good chunk of time to read. I would read at least a chapter at each of those nap times. And then me and my husband alternate putting him down each evening. But now he only has 1 nap a day. And because he only has 1 nap, he goes down like a light. So there's no time to read. So now I'm only reading every other evening. So to finish, like I said, I've only just started this one. To read this one and the novella, and then to read the book club read in 3 weeks is going to be a bit of a tough ask. But I'm going to do it because I'm not putting this on hold anymore. I've started, I will finish, and I will read the novella straight afterwards before we get into Tiger in the Smoke. So that's going to be a bit of a tight time frame. But I have read up about Tiger in the Smoke on Goodreads, and it does sound quite intriguing. So I'm open to it. Anyway, Powerless. I feel like I've been talking about this book ever since I've started this book reading series on my channel. I've wanted to read it. It has not disappointed. So it switches POVs just between Payden and Kai. I think that it's going to be the only 2 POVs in this book, which is refreshing after the other book. And we've just got to the point where, so like I said, we're on chapter 6. So Payden and Kai have met for the first time. We've heard it from Payden's point of view, but we're just about to hear it from Kai's point of view. I had a quick scan of what, like, the first page, and it's about them meeting from his point of view. So I'm literally so excited to dive back into this book. And we're going to go and see my husband's grandparents this weekend. So we're going to be in the car for a couple of hours each way. So I'm hoping to get a good chunk of reading done this weekend. And I literally can't wait. So have I read the back of this one? For anyone, if you lived under a rock and you don't know what this book is about, only the extraordinary belong in the kingdom of Ilya. The elites possess powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Ilya and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Payden Grey, an ordinary posing as a sidekick to blend in with the elites. When she unsuspectingly saves one of the Ilya's princes, Kai Azar, she's thrown into the Persian trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elite's powers. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting feelings for will, if he discovers what Payden is, completely ordinary. And they literally just clash. So the best way I can describe Payden is she's like, I don't know if you've like watched films like on grifters and con artists, like Ocean's 11 or whatever. So she cold reads people. So she's posing as a psychic. She doesn't have any special abilities. But there's right at the start, she bumps into, I guess, the equivalent of a policeman in this realm. And he's like, prove that you have abilities, prove you're not an ordinary. And she cold reads them. So she sees on his hand that there's a mark where his wedding band used to be. So he's obviously recently separated. You could tell by his mannerisms, he's probably the one that caused that separation. So he cheated on her. So she's able to say all this stuff. And that's exactly what con artists and grifters do to, trap people they want to steal money from. They cold read people. And it comes across as psychic ability, but it's not. So she's not gifted, but she's gifted in a different way, I guess is the best way to put it. And then you have Kai, who's the prince, and he has this special power that he can tap into other people's special abilities and kind of use it back against them. Now, I haven't got to the bit how he doesn't pick up straight away that she's an ordinary, because he's actually a hunter for the ordinaries. He's sent out, he's the younger brother, so his brother's going to be the next heir, the next king, and he's kind of like the enforcer, like the bodyguard, trying to get rid of all these ordinaries. So obviously, again, you're going to have people pit against each other. So she's the kind of person that he's meant to be effectively killing, or at least banishing. So I'm intrigued to see how they write it so that he doesn't pick up on the fact that she's ordinary, because right now I don't know how he wouldn't. So like I said, I'm right at the start, so I'm very intrigued to how it's just going to play out. And we know that Kai's going to be in the trials because that's what's expected of the elites. So it'll be interesting to see how Payden gets in the trials as well. And then I'm guessing it's almost a bit like Hunger Games in that kind of the trials kind of plays out, I'm guessing. But very intrigued, and I just want to get stuck into it. So let's hopefully get a big chunk of reading done. And next time I speak to you, I'll be able to give you a bit more of an outline of the plot. Again, no spoilers on this channel, but I'll be able to lay out to you a bit more what's going on. Okay, guys, I have finished Powerless. I didn't actually film too much of me reading it, I don't think. I filmed part of me in the car reading it, but I haven't filmed very much since, just because I've been so lost in it. As you can tell, I've literally only just finished it this evening, and I feel a bit dazed still by it, but I don't need to consider my rating. This is 5 stars all day long. I thought it would be 5 stars when I started reading it. I felt like a 5-star straight away, and it did not disappoint. I'm at a bit of a loss what to say about it, because I really want these book vlogs to be spoiler free, so that you can enjoy books without having the spoilers in them. So I don't really know what to say about it other than please read it if you haven't read it. It's so good that the first book in a trilogy, and the second book comes out next month. So we are currently, what are we? I think we're like the 11th of June now. I've been really bad at doing timestamps in this video. I'm so sorry, but it's the 11th of June, and it comes out, I think, beginning of July. And I've already pre-ordered it. I'm so excited. I love it. I love the characters. So it's dual POV between Payden and Kai. I love them. I love so many characters. I love Kit as well. Jax is super cute. I think the way they wrote the trials is so good. I was a bit worried that it would be a bit like the Hunger Games, kind of like a mock-off of that. It's so much better, in my opinion. I love the relationship. I think Payden is such a strong character, but with lots of vulnerabilities. Kai is just amazing. I would highly recommend. I can't wait for the next one to see how things develop. It kind of ends on a cliffhanger. And yeah, I really can't wait. So I'm sorry that it's a bit wishy-washy, that kind of explanation, but like I said, I really want to keep these vlogs spoiler free, and there's not really a way of talking about this book without giving tons of spoilers. But I just have to say, I don't think I've been as excited about the book since Magnolia Parks was another one. I would say this may be even edges of Magnolia Parks, although I haven't read the Daisy Hates books yet, but this probably does edge Magnolia Parks. It's still not on my Twilight level, but I don't think anything will ever reach Twilight, probably due to nostalgia as well. But this comes close. Like, I think if I had read Twilight at the same time as this, they probably would have been level, and that is saying something. So yes, I love this. So of course, without being said, the next one I'm going to be reading is Powerful, which is the novella that is written on the same time frame as this one. So this is Payden's friend Adina, kind of following her whilst Payden is in the trials. And you do see Adina in here, so you kind of know what's happening with her, what happens with her, but obviously there are times where Payden is away. So, and because it's told between Payden and Kai in the trials, you don't get the behind the scenes, which is what this is basically. But I am going to be ending the vlog here, just because I think, obviously, I don't want these to be hours and hours long. I know these are generally quite long vlogs anyway. I do long vlogs. It's just because I ramble. My vlogs are kind of ones where you sit down with a cup of tea and just make yourself comfortable. But I will be ending the vlog here. As with always with my book vlogs, I will be starting the next one straight away. So we finish this one, we're going to be straight into this one. And my next book club read, I think I said last time, is Tiger and Smoke. I haven't picked it up from the library yet because it hasn't come in, but it's just as well because I wanted to get these ones done. So thank you very much for watching. I also want to say, if you follow my channel anyway, you know that predominantly I do studio vlogs. I have an Etsy small business, in case you just follow me for books and you don't know that. Even if you just follow me for my book vlogs, I think it's definitely worth you hitting the notification bell and subscribing, because my next studio vlog, so the video that comes out after this one at the end of June, is a studio vlog where we're doing my shop update, but the shop update is purely book merch. So there's going to be exciting things coming there. We're making some Taylor Eras Tour inspired bookmarks for reading era. We are doing a Magnolia Parks range. I'm thinking of doing a print with all of Magnolia's outfits from the first book. Might turn that into a sticker and bookmark as well. Loads of stuff coming up. So for all the book merch and bookish girlies and guys, please hit the notification bell and subscribe, because you don't want to miss that studio vlog, even if you're generally not into studio vlogs. But yes, that'll be the next video that comes out. Like I said, I'm going to start my next book vlog now, and that one will probably be out in August, because I generally span them over a couple of months. but what else have you got to come up on the channel? I think I've got a craft fair, like an art market craft fair coming up next weekend. So I'm going to be filming that. So you'll see that. That'll probably come out at the beginning of July. So lots of exciting things coming on the channel. So please stay tuned. But thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me as I discover probably one of my new favorite books that I've read. I'm going to say of all time. Like, is that hyping it up too much? I don't think so. Like, it's amazing. Like, it's amazing. The writing is stunning. The characters are stunning. Please read it. Please. Thank you for watching, and I will join you in the next one. God bless. I love you. Bye.